Hello and welcome. It's Laura Jane here, your National Director for the Australian International Pageant System. I'm honoured and excited to come to you live on the King's birthday. I said Queen's birthday this morning, but no, it has changed to the King's birthday now here in Australia and around the world. So I am honoured and excited to come to you with a beautiful Queen today who I met during my reign as Mrs. Australia International 2020. I met the beautiful Crystal on the American stage in Tennessee in July. And I just fell in love with her because she has an amazing journey, which we'll share with you today. She's found her career from her mental health journey, which we'll share with you today. And she's also found her platform for her pageantry work. She's currently not an international sister. Her title now is American Miss New Hampshire North Mrs. And she is doing such amazing work in the mental health area. And as you're watching in live, do say hi in the comments below. Tell us where you're tuning in from. I'm obviously from Sydney, Australia. Let's bring on Crystal. Good morning, beautiful, or afternoon for you. How are you, Crystal?
Good. 6 p.m. I'm good. Where I'm at.
Yeah. And where are you tuning in, Crystal?
Concord, New Hampshire.
Oh, beautiful. I just love your journey. And so for the viewers, let's just dive in. Tell us a little bit about your beginning story to potentially how you found the information that you're sharing with mental health now.
Right. I'm going to squeeze 37 years into like 5 minutes.
Okay.
So here we go. I was raised by a dad who had been in the foster care system, had traumatic brain injury, had some issues, and my mom who was intellectually disabled. So their ability to parent was not the greatest. So my childhood was filled with different types of abuse and neglect or what have you. And this is back in the late 80s. So things were a little bit different about how that was handled, which led to me going into therapy from the ages of 5 to 13, which at that point was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder due to things that happened to me. I'm going to keep it very, very brief. But anyway, that led to that, which was a struggle, which still currently is a struggle to this day. And my self-esteem had always not been the greatest. I had been bullied for where I lived, my looks, things like that. And so it was just a really hard time. I ended up moving in with my mom when I was about 15. And ended up finding myself, like finding my style, finding my true friends and whatnot. So in lieu of being in therapy, I just went to music. I was in choir. I was in color guard. I just put all my energy into that, into theater. And that's where my first love and passion is actually that. Second is helping people. But I try to incorporate the both.
Crystal, we're just going to slow that down. Thank you so much for sharing that story. That's really tough beginnings for you. And you're such a strong and amazing person, inspiring many, many people all around the world by being a sister queen that you are. And so during that tough time, you had bullying as well as that, as the family things at home that were happening. And then you're able to find love and passion in a dark point in life. You found the theater world, which actually we connected with that because I used to do theater growing up as well. And that was your passion and light. And so that brought happiness into your life when everything at home was tough. So what was that like, finding the love of theater?
I'd always loved being on a stage or having a mic in my hand or just doing little dances when I was younger. And that actually segues into actually how I found pageantry. When I was about 15 years old, I had gotten a thing in the mail saying, that was the radio. Sorry, that's coming later. Thing on the radio, like, come to this audition for open casting call for a local modeling agency. My dad was like, there's no point. I'm not bringing you. But he eventually brought me. And I ended up getting a modeling contract with a local agency at 15, which was a total morale, self-esteem boost. Because I didn't, the girl in front of me was what you would picture as model type. And they actually turned her away. And I'm like, my name is Crystal Birch. That's my main name. I'm 15 years old. I want to be an actress. I want to be a singer and an actress. And they're like, come back tomorrow. And then the next day we signed the contract. But that was very short lived. Due to financial struggles and transportation struggles, I was not able to continue that. But due to my name being kind of in that system, when I was 19, I got a card in the mail to compete in my state's Miss USA had state preliminary. And so that's how I got introduced to my first pageant.
I love that. So your first pageant, how old were you?
19.
19, and you were Miss USA at 19?
No. I competed in my state preliminary.
Got you. That's so exciting. But what was the experience like at that age for you going into pageantry?
It was not what I expected. I actually didn't know what I was expecting. I kind of entered on a whim, like, yeah, sure, why not? But I was not prepared. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, it was kind of overwhelming because a lot of the girls that were there had been competing since they were little. But it was a very interesting experience, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit, and just being in the room with those people made me feel a lot better about myself.
That is awesome. And so by being in the room with other people who were driven to do some great things in their community, it uplifted your soul at a time where it might be otherwise at home. And it gave you some light and something to work on. And so let's talk a little bit about how your background with what we just shared led you to your career today.
Well, when I did that pageant, I was actually in my second year of community college, and I had started college as a education major. Actually, I was going to be a middle school music teacher, but my roommate at the time was a human service or social work type major, and I was reading her intro to psych book, and I'm like, this sounds more my speed. So I ended up switching majors halfway through my first year. So at that point, when I had done the pageant, I had switched to human services, which then led to finishing my collegiate career and going to graduate school for a master's in mental health counseling.
Wow, you are amazing. So not only have you used your past for your career, you're also using it as your advocacy for pageantry. So now your first pageant was 18, and now we don't have to say your age, but how many
you can if you want.
how many you're a mom, of course, as well, and how many pageants have you done in your life?
I had done that one at 19, and then I took a very long hiatus, graduated from college, did life, and
had babies.
I had ended up actually in a short-lived marriage, and then I ended up in grad school, and now I'm with that person that I started with there, and we're married. We've been married for 8 years. And once we got married in 2015, I had applied to international.
Well, that's where we met.
Well, this is 2015. This is the first time I was supposed to go, but I was blessed with my second child, so I was not able to compete in 2016 due to being not able to travel due to being pregnant. So in 2019, I reapplied, and I was given the title of Mrs. New Hampshire International, and that's when I met you.
Yes, Mrs. New Hampshire International.
We met in 2020.
You were amazing, by the way. But since then, I've seen huge growth happen within you, Crystal. I'm not going to lie. You've just grown. You've found even more confidence than when we met, and that was only in 2020. So tell me about that. Like, what's changed for you? I feel like you've got this new inner confidence, and your appearance and the way you show up in the world is just so much more confident than it was previously. So tell me about that. Have you found some new inner secret during this journey?
No, and actually international pageants has a lot to do with that, because I did that, and then I did a smaller pageant for a different system, and then I came back in 2022 as Mrs. New England International. So I'm a legacy holder for 2 titles for the international system. But being around the women that compete in international, they're more than just platforms. They are doing the work, and that's pretty much their life. And so I felt that with what I'm doing with my career being my platform, that I belonged there and
Beautiful.
that I deserved to be there and that I did earn the spot at the table there.
I love that so much. And that is so true about, let's just talk about international for a minute. I'm the national director for Australia, past title queen holder. And I know that for a fact that our system is really building future leaders, leaders who are connected to something that they're very passionate about. And so for me, as Mrs. Australia reigning, like I went through a lot of training. I did a lot of coaching in America, and I found my true core passion was to help kids in poverty. And through that process, I created a legacy project because I noticed that a lot of the past queen holders and the current queen holders had built something that they didn't necessarily have to go out and do. Like just doing events and stuff is great, appearances are wonderful, but they actually had something called a legacy project that they all gave to society. And so during my reign, I created a book. Shameless plug right here. With it's called Heart Queen, available on Amazon, but all the profits go to kids in poverty. And so when I leave this world, I know that that book will still generate profits going to my chosen non-for-profit that help kids in poverty. And in the book is mindset about teenagers, how they can adopt a success mindset. So pageantry helped me do that. And it's not just a fake crown and heels sort of pageant. All of these women that we network with and we build friendships with, they're all going out still today doing amazing work and help and being a light and helping and doing great things in their community. That is why I've invited you here today, Crystal, to share your story. And so tell me a little bit about your platform and maybe during your reign, as the multiple queens that you are, tell me what it is that you're doing in your community to create maybe positive change.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually a child and family therapist at one of my state's 10 community mental health centers. I work for one. And so every day I'm working with kids trying to help them with their mindset or their self-esteem or anxiety, depression, whatever they bring you to the table. I'm helping guide them through mindfulness, cognitive behavioral therapy, and like changing cognitive distortions, things of that nature, whatever is appropriate for what they're bringing to the table. So I do that on a daily basis, and that's my career. But on top of that, I am working with two agencies. They're national agencies in America, but I work at the state level with them. And they're both mental health agencies. One's called the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I'm training to do speaking engagements through them with my story and for advocacy for them. They've taught me how to advocate and write to our legislators and things and leaders here to change laws that affect mental health, both for children and adults. I'm actually doing an event next weekend for a table to give out information to the LGBTQ community at Pride, one of our Pride events. And I'm doing that with both NAMI and with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, the New Hampshire chapter. I do events for them too, and I help with their walk. We do a fundraising walk for both organizations every year to raise money to help people who are dealing with mental health conditions and suicidal ideation or have lost somebody to suicide.
Oh, you are amazing. Thank you for the work that you're doing. You're really creating positive change. And by by being a queen in a pageant system, it can really give you and open up doors and help more to your community in the chosen area that you've chosen, mental health. So thank you so much for the work that you're doing. I will say, everyone, we have her link below. Please do connect with Crystal. Her handle on Instagram is Queen Fidget Phoenix. It's just on the screen below. And if you're watching on podcast, we will put the links in the podcast description below as well. So please do go on over and follow her journey. She's doing amazing work. Is there any stories that you'd love to share that might inspire someone to maybe be a queen and do a pageant, like maybe, or a story or something that you've taken away that really you didn't realize would happen being a queen, and now you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, like I need to share this? So feel free to share a fun story.
What I would say is that a lot of people are already doing the work, and I've said this regardless of which crown I'm wearing, that I don't do the work to get the crown. I got the crown for the work I do. So
Beautiful.
if you're already passionate about something and you're already invested in something, then if you want to take that to a higher level, then doing a pageant will give you that stage and that ability to do that. But if you're not quite there yet and you're just still trying to find yourself and you're trying to find out who you are and figure out who you are, especially with in America being Pride Month, don't be afraid to be yourself regardless of the outside noise. Because you can't control the outside noise, but what you can control is how it makes you think, how it impacts your feelings, and then how you act on it. So if you choose to rise above that, you be true to you and your people will find you.
Oh, beautiful, Crystal. I need to like take this out of this thing and post it everywhere. That was so powerful. I love that so much. So many queens here in Australia will be watching this interview that you did. I'm just so honored that you came on at 6 o'clock. Is it Sunday for you?
Yep.
And shared your story. I so appreciate you. You're amazing. So do definitely follow Crystal. And of course, we are the Australian International Pageant. Let me just share that one if I can quickly. Internationalpageants.com.au. If you're thinking about becoming an international queen, maybe it's, hey, you want to get a little bit of exposure. Maybe you've already got a platform and you really want to have more access to resources to help you get more exposure and serve your community better, then the internationalpageants.com.au would be the place to go have a look and see who we are. We'd love to get to meet you and support you to the international crown. Okay, so you know what? I think that might be the end of our interview, but I so appreciate you. How do we support you in your advocacy for the crown? Oh, for your platform, sorry.
Just donating to any mental health organizations or suicide prevention organizations in your area. If you are in the United States, NAMI.org, or find your local chapter, your state chapter, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, AFSP.org, and then find your local chapter there. And anyone who's local to me in like New Hampshire, New England area, I am collecting the little soda tabs for Shriners Hospitals as well for my current title. So
I love that so much. So everyone, remember, you are special and you are made for greatness. Everyone has had a past. Everyone has had a past that looks completely different. But do you know what? Everyone is here for a reason, for a purpose, and for a mission. It doesn't matter what it looks like. You are made for greatness. So going out into your community, be you, and remember, to be a true queen, is to serve. I'll see you in the next show, everyone. And thanks so much for joining, Crystal. Bye, everyone.
thank you. Bye-bye.